I'll never forget the first time I felt the hair stand on the back of my neck, that primitive alarm inside me ringing like a damn siren. It wasn't because I caught Lisa with her clothes off in someone else's bed. No, betrayal is sneakier than that. It's a cigarette but in your ashtray when you don't smoke. This perfume you never bought, lingering on her blouse. It's her phone face down on the table like it's holding the launch codes. Lisa, my wife of 10 years. She had this laugh, sharp and sweet at the same time, that used to make me proud just to be the guy standing next to her. But lately, that laugh had been aimed somewhere else. Not at me. Started on a Wednesday night. I came home from work, still wearing my oil-stained shirt from the shop, hands reeking of grease. I walked in with a six-pack of Miller Lite because I thought, hell, we haven't had a proper couch night in weeks. When I opened the door, I heard her upstairs. Not her voice, though, it was a giggle. The kind of giggle I hadn't heard in years. The kind that makes a man remember the first time he laid eyes on her. I froze at the bottom of the stairs, listening. And then silence. The kind of silence you can almost hear breathing. My heart pounded. I shouted up, "Lisa?" No answer. A moment later, she clattered down the stairs, hair messy, phone clutched in her hand like it was a weapon. "Oh, hey, Mark," she said too quickly. "Didn't hear you come in." I set the beers on the counter. "Who were you laughing with?" Her eyes darted sideways. "Just a TikTok video. You know, dumb stuff. That's the thing with liars. They rehearse lies so well they sound like truths. But the eyes, they never cooperate." I knew right then something was off. That night she turned her back to me in bed, pretending to sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying her words. A TikTok video. But she held the phone tight against her chest like a schoolgirl hiding notes. The next day I started watching. I noticed things I'd ignored before. Her phone battery dying faster than usual. Always in her hand, always charging. New clothes showing up in the closet. Skirts shorter than she used to wear, heels sharper. Her excuses. Working late. Girls' night out. Don't wait up. Funny thing is, I wanted to believe her. You don't spend 10 years building a life with someone just to torch it at the first sign of smoke. But the smoke kept thickening. One Saturday morning, I found the proof. She'd gone for a yoga class, but left her iPad at home. Normally, I wouldn't touch her stuff, but my gut told me, check it. I opened it, swiped through the apps, and there it was, Messenger. A chat thread with someone named Ethan. My hands shook as I read. "Can't stop thinking about last night. You're amazing. Next time, let's get a hotel instead of the car, lol." I swear, my chest caved in. 10 years of trust, smashed in seconds on a glowing screen. Every "love you" she'd whispered suddenly felt like counterfeit cash. Looked real, but worthless. When she came back, sweaty in her yoga pants, water bottle in hand, I just stared at her. The woman I thought I knew. The woman who shared my bed, my meals, my dreams. She smiled at me like nothing was wrong, kissed me on the cheek and said, "Miss me?" That's when I knew. This wasn't just a suspicion anymore. It was war. And the worst part? I wasn't ready for how bitchy, how shamelessly disrespectful she would become once the truth came out. But I'll get to that. This is only the beginning. I didn't sleep that night. Not even a minute. I lay there, staring at the faint glow of Lisa's phone charging on her nightstand, listening to her soft breathing beside me. How could she lie there like that, so calm, while my insides were burning? The next morning, she kissed me goodbye, told me she was off to the gym. My stomach turned at the words. Gym? Maybe. More likely Ethan's passenger seat. I didn't argue, didn't confront her yet. Instead, I followed. I tailed her car like some cheap detective in a B-movie, heart hammering so hard I thought it might blow the cover all on its own. She drove downtown, not to the gym but to a hotel with curtains too red and a parking lot that stank of secrets. I parked across the street, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. And then I saw him. Tall, lean, baseball cap turned backward. Ethan. She ran to him like a teenager, laughing, kissing him right there in public. Like our vows never happened. Like I was already a ghost. My mouth went dry. I wanted to storm across that lot, rip the door off his car, drag her out by the lies she'd been feeding me. But instead, I sat frozen, watching as they disappeared inside the hotel. My wife with another man. Hours passed. I lost track of time, just staring at that door. When she finally came out, hair messy, eyes glowing, she looked 20 years younger. Happier than she'd looked with me in a long damn time. And that hurt more than anything. The way betrayal lit her up like I never could anymore. When she got home that evening, she acted casual. Spin class was brutal, she sighed, tossing her gym bag on the couch. I studied her face, every flicker of her eyes, every twitch in her smile. She lied so easily it was terrifying. Later, when she showered, I checked her phone again. I knew the passcode, of course I did. We were married. Married people weren't supposed to have secrets, right? Wrong. The messages told the full story. Can't wait till next weekend. Same hotel. You drive me crazy. Don't worry about Mark. He's clueless. Clueless. That word stabbed me harder than any knife. My wife, the woman I'd trusted with my whole life, was mocking me with her lover. I sat on the edge of the bed, shaking, the phone burning in my hands. There it was, undeniable proof. Not suspicion, not paranoia, but the ugly, dirty truth. When Lisa walked out of the shower, towel wrapped around her, humming like she hadn't just torn my soul apart, I knew things would never be the same. The storm was coming. I couldn't hold it in any longer. That night, after dinner, while Lisa scrolled her phone with that smug little smirk she thought I didn't notice, I finally snapped. "Who's Ethan?" I asked, steady but sharp. Her fingers froze. For a split second, her eyes widened. Fear, shock, guilt. Then, like the seasoned liar she was, she rolled her eyes and scoffed. "Ethan? Seriously, Mark? He's just a guy from yoga class. We barely talk." I leaned forward, my hands gripping the table. Barely talk? I read the messages, Lisa. The hotel, the weekends. Don't lie to me again. Her face hardened instantly. No shame, no apology, just anger. "You went through my phone? That's disgusting. You're pathetic, Mark. Always suspicious, always snooping." That's the kind of bitchy move she was best at. Flipping the blame like I was the villain here. My blood boiled. "Don't turn this on me. You're the one sneaking around, laughing behind my back, calling me clueless." She slammed her phone on the table. "Because you are clueless. You think working your dead-end mechanic job and bringing home cheap beer makes you a man? Ethan knows how to treat a woman. He has ambition, money, class. Something you'll never have." Her words sliced me open. After 10 years of loyalty, sacrifices, late nights fixing her car, paying the bills, this is what she thought of me? Just some grease monkey not worth her respect. "Lisa, I gave you everything I had," I said, voice shaking. "Maybe not yachts or champagne, but loyalty, love, a home. Doesn't that mean anything?" She laughed. A cold, cruel laugh that still echoes in my head. "Love doesn't pay for designer shoes. Love doesn't book 5-star vacations. Wake up, Mark. I don't want to rot in this boring life anymore." I stared at her, trying to find the woman I once married. But all I saw was a stranger, dripping venom, craving more than I could ever give. "So that's it," I whispered. "You're throwing away 10 years for some guy who buys you cocktails?" She folded her arms, smirking. "Better than wasting 10 more years on you." I could have broken then, shouted, cried, begged, but something inside me shifted. Her disrespect lit a fire instead of breaking me. "You know what, Lisa?" I stood up, my chair scraping loud against the floor. "If you want Ethan, yachts, champagne, go. But don't expect me to sit here like some idiot while you spit in my face." Her eyes flickered. Maybe she expected me to grovel. Instead, I walked away, my chest heavy but strangely steady. For the first time, I wasn't the clueless one anymore. The war lines were drawn. The moment I walked out of that kitchen, my whole body shook like an engine running out of oil. My legs wanted to give out, but I forced myself to keep moving, straight through the hallway and into the garage. The garage, that was my church, my confessional, my battlefield. The smell of grease, the quiet hum of tools lined up on the pegboard. It kept me sane when nothing else did. I sat on the workbench, staring at the concrete floor, and it all hit me at once. 10 years. 10 damn years. The holidays, the late-night drives, the dreams we once built together, reduced to rubble by a woman who couldn't be satisfied with loyalty. My anger came first, white-hot, surging through my veins. How dare she? How dare she spit on the life we built and then laugh in my face like I was trash? I wanted to smash something, anything. I grabbed a wrench and hurled it across the garage. Clanged off the wall, but the sound didn't help. Nothing helped. Then came the grief. That heavy, drowning grief that squeezes your lungs until you can't breathe. I thought about the first time I met Lisa, at a bar on a Friday night. She had this glow, this wild energy that pulled me in like a magnet. I remembered our wedding day, the way she cried when we exchanged vows, swearing to stand by me through everything. Were those tears even real, or was it just another performance? I pressed my palms into my eyes, trying to hold back the flood, but it didn't work. The tears came, big, ugly ones that soaked my shirt and made me feel like a broken kid, not a man. But maybe that's what betrayal does. It strips you down, makes you raw and exposed. And beneath the grief, there was humiliation. Knowing she'd mocked me with Ethan called me clueless. Knowing that while I was sweating in the shop to pay our bills, she was dressing up for another man. I imagined people whispering behind my back, laughing. That burned worse than fire. I didn't sleep again. I sat up all night in the garage, staring at nothing, mind spinning in circles. I thought about grabbing a bottle of whiskey and drinking until I couldn't feel, but I didn't. Something inside me told me I needed clarity, not more fog. By dawn, exhaustion settled in, but so did a strange calm. I realized something important. Lisa had already left me in her heart. The marriage was dead the moment she chose Ethan. And maybe, just maybe, this betrayal was the wake-up call I needed. But knowing the truth and accepting it are two different beasts. My chest still ached. My stomach churned with jealousy, anger, and sorrow. I wasn't ready to let go. Not yet. And deep down, I knew the fight wasn't over. Lisa wasn't the type to walk away clean. She was going to twist the knife again. That'd be why the third night without sleep, I stopped pretending I could just wait it out. Lisa wasn't going to change. She wasn't going to wake up one morning and suddenly remember that I was the man who carried her through job layoffs, hospital visits, rent struggles, all of it. No. She wanted more, and she had already decided I wasn't enough. But the question kept eating me alive. What the hell do I do now? Divorce was the obvious path. Papers, signatures, and a clean break. But there was nothing clean about the way she humiliated me. If I walked out quietly, she'd strut around town like she won, like she traded up. And me? I'd look like the fool who couldn't hold his woman. That thought made my stomach twist. Revenge crossed my mind more than once. Sell the house, drain the savings, leave her standing there with nothing but her smug face and empty promises. I even pictured showing up at that hotel, dragging Ethan out by the collar, and smashing his perfect jaw across the pavement. But that kind of revenge, messy, violent, would only land me in jail. She'd probably enjoy that, too. What I wanted was control. She'd been writing the script for months, maybe years, and I was the idiot reciting lines without knowing the ending. I needed to flip it. I started planning quietly. No shouting, no threats, just cold decisions. First step, money. I moved the bulk of our joint savings into a separate account under my name. Legal? Barely. But I wasn't about to let her fund champagne nights with Ethan using the sweat from my back. Second step, property. The flat we lived in, it wasn't really ours. I was the one who signed the papers, paid the mortgage. I contacted a realtor, asked how quickly it could move. By the end of the week, I had buyers lined up. Fast cash, no hesitation. Third step, appearances. Around Lisa, I acted calm, almost robotic. No more shouting matches, no begging. That unnerved her more than any angry word could. She'd throw her bitchy jabs. Don't wait up, I've got Pilates. Or, maybe if you worked harder, I wouldn't need to look elsewhere. But I barely reacted. She hated it. And behind that mask, I was building my escape. Not just escape, freedom. A chance to walk away without chains on my ankles. One night, she stumbled in late, reeking of perfume that wasn't hers. She tossed her heels aside and grinned at me. "What's with the silence, Mark? Plotting something?" I just smiled back, slow and steady. "You'll see." For the first time in weeks, the weight on my chest lifted. I had a plan. Maybe it was ruthless. Maybe it was the only way I'd survive. But one thing was certain. Lisa had played her last card. Now, it was my turn. That it all started unraveling for Lisa on a gray Tuesday morning. She came downstairs wearing that silk blouse I knew wasn't bought with her paycheck, sipping coffee like she owned the world. She had no clue that, by the end of the week, the ground under her feet would be gone. I closed the deal on the flat the night before. Paper signed, money already sitting in my account. The realtor worked fast, cash buyers, no questions. Lisa thought she'd stroll forever in her little kingdom, but the castle was already sold. "Mark, we need to talk about upgrading the car," she said, flicking her hair like a spoiled queen. "Ethan says I should be driving something classier than that old Civic." Her nerve almost made me laugh. "Ethan says." Every word out of her mouth reeked of him. I set my mug down slowly and looked her straight in the eye. "Don't worry about the car. I already handled it." She smirked. "Really? About time you did something useful." What she didn't know was that I'd traded the Civic and used the flat money for a brand new BMW. Not for her, for me. A fresh start. A clean ride to carry me out of her mess. By Friday, the sale finalized. I told her over dinner, calm as stone. "Lisa, the flat's sold. We'll be moving soon." Her fork clattered on the plate. "What the hell are you talking about? You sold our home? Without asking me?" "Our home." I leaned back, smiling just enough to twist the knife. "No, Lisa. My name's on the deed. It was always mine. You just lived here." Her face drained of color, then flushed red with rage. "You bastard. How could you do this? Where am I supposed to go?" I shrugged, savoring the panic flickering in her eyes. "Maybe Ethan's got room in his car. Or maybe he'll finally spring for that yacht you're always dreaming about." The silence after that was thick. She didn't even try to deny it anymore. No excuses, no fake tears. Just pure, seething fury. "You think you're clever," she spat, standing up so fast her chair toppled over. "But you're just a bitter little man. Ethan would never treat me like this." I chuckled, low and bitter. "You're right. Ethan would treat you to a cheap hotel bed and a handful of lies. I treated you to 10 years of loyalty. You spat on it. Now you get nothing." She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls rattled. I didn't chase her. Didn't need to. Because for the first time since this nightmare started, I wasn't the powerless one anymore. That night, I slid into the BMW, engine humming like freedom itself. As I drove through the empty streets, windows down, I realized something. Revenge wasn't just about hurting her. It was about reclaiming myself. And I wasn't done yet. Lisa came crawling back 2 days later, though of course she didn't crawl in the literal sense. She strutted through the door like she still owned the place. But her face gave her away. The sharp edges of her arrogance had dulled. Panic had set in. "Mark, we need to talk," she said, her tone half pleading, half demanding. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "Talk? Or lie? Because I've heard enough of your lies." Her lips tightened. "I made a mistake." "Okay. Ethan, he's not what I thought. He promised me things, but he's broke. He's a loser. I should have known better." I almost laughed in her face. This was the same woman who had mocked me for years, who said Ethan was my superior. Now she wanted sympathy because her golden boy turned out to be rust. "So let me get this straight," I said slowly. "You betray me, tear our marriage apart, and now you want forgiveness because your side piece couldn't afford your champagne dreams?" Her eyes watered, but it wasn't sorrow. It was performance. Lisa was a master actress. She reached for my arm. "Mark, please, don't throw us away. We can fix this. We can go back to how it was." I pulled away, ice cold. "There is no going back, Lisa. You burned the bridge, then pissed on the ashes. That's when the mask slipped. The tears dried up instantly, and the venom returned. You think you're better than me now? With your new car and your smug attitude? You're still nothing without me. Funny, I shot back. I was nothing with you. Now I'm finally starting to feel alive. She exploded. You bastard. After everything I gave you, I cut her off. Everything you gave me? You gave me betrayal, humiliation, and headaches. Keep them. I don't need any of it anymore. Her face twisted into something ugly, almost monstrous. She realized she'd lost control, and she hated it. Fine, she hissed. You'll regret this. Don't come begging when you're alone and miserable. And then she stormed out again, heels pounding against the tile like gunshots. The door slammed, echoing through the empty flat that wouldn't be ours much longer. The silence afterward was heavy, but this time it wasn't painful. It was liberating. She could spit venom all she wanted, it no longer stuck to me. Later that week, I sat in front of the judge, explaining my side calmly, without rage. He listened, nodded, and finally said dryly, "You acted wisely." That single sentence lifted a weight I didn't even know I was still carrying. Lisa had tried to wreck me, but instead, she ended up penniless, drifting with no anchor. I wasn't just surviving, I was steering my own life again. For the first time in months, I breathed freely. It's strange how fast life can change. 1 month I was a husband, blind to the cracks in my marriage, clinging to loyalty like it was enough. Now I sit behind the wheel of my new BMW, the sun setting in the rearview, and I feel lighter than I have in years. Lisa is gone. Not just from my flat, not just from my bank account, but from my soul. She tried to leave me broken, humiliated, but the truth is she freed me. Freed me from the lies, from the endless game of trying to satisfy someone who could never be satisfied. The pain isn't gone. I won't lie. Betrayal leaves scars. Some nights, I still wake up expecting her to be beside me, only to remember she's probably with some other fool, spinning the same lies she once fed me. But instead of drowning in grief, I feel a cold, sharp clarity. I survived her. Looking back, I realize I spent years mistaking endurance for love. I kept patching holes in a ship she was already drilling holes into. I thought sacrifice was proof of devotion. Turns out it was fuel for her contempt. A woman like Lisa doesn't respect loyalty. She exploits it. What did I learn? Simple. Never ignore the little alarms. When your gut tells you something's wrong, it's usually right. Don't bury the signs just because you're afraid of what they mean. I saw the changes in her. The late nights, the secretive phone, the sudden contempt. But I looked the other way because I didn't want the truth. That mistake cost me years. If I could speak to any man standing where I once stood, I'd tell him this: don't beg. Don't chase. Don't waste your breath on someone who spits on your loyalty. Walk away with your head high, even if it feels like your chest is caving in. Because on the other side of that pain is freedom. As for Lisa, I don't wish her well, and I don't wish her harm. She's already her own punishment. The woman who thought she'd trade up ended up with nothing. No flat, no money, no husband to lean on. And me? I'm not just surviving. I'm building again. Slowly, maybe, but on solid ground this time. I know now what I want. Not yachts, not champagne, not flashy promises. I want peace, honesty, real partnership, and I'll never settle for less again. The road ahead is mine to drive. And if there's one thing I'll never forget, it's this. Sometimes losing someone you thought you couldn't live without is the only way to remember who the hell you really are.